Medema kumani na bemao, fambo chaskele, oh baby, oh dede, your love do me like juju. Medema kumani na bemao, fambo chaskele, oh baby, oh
welcome back to my channel. It is Ruthie Patootie here, and I'm back with another video. There's lipstick on my teeth. I know it's been a hot minute. I will explain all that during the Q&A portion of this video. Today I'm gonna be talking to you guys about this unit that I'm wearing. All the information regarding this hair is down below. If you'd like to see how I achieved this look and how I was able to style this hair, keep on watching the video and I will see you at the end. All right, party people. So let's get started. This is take 2. I'm gonna flat iron this leave out to go with the wig. So a little bit of background on Better Length. I've actually used this company in the past before. I used their clip-ins, which I love so much and I still use till this day. If you would like to see how I was able to style clip-ins on natural hair, I forgot that this was up here, go ahead and click the link that will be somewhere here on the screen. Better Length specializes in textured extensions. A lot of what they have is meant to serve the African American woman in finding extensions that are more like that are closer to their natural texture. So this is the Kinky Coarse blowout texture, and as you can see right here, I straightened the hair just so that it can have better rhythm and flow, you know what I mean? So anyway, let's go ahead and apply this mug. Look how that flows. You know what? Since this is a Q&A video, I'm going to start with the Q&A since some of the questions are regarding hair. And I actually just remembered one question was regarding heat, so I might as well address that right now. So the first question I'm going to answer is, how often do I flat iron my hair? Previous to this, the last 6 months, let's say that. Previous to the last 6 months, I would only flat iron my hair maybe like once a year, and that would be mostly for like a length check or just to see how I'm doing. But more recently I've been more liberal with using heat on my hair, and I think another question was, how often can you blow dry your hair? Prior to the last 6 months, I would say once a quarter, like once every 3 months I would blow dry my hair. But nowadays I blow dry this mug. If it's not in a protective style, it's probably in a blown out state. Again, I'm being more liberal with heat on my hair because I just cannot, I can't handle it.
I tell you, say give me joy. Anything I go talk, give me life. All the boys who won't move, tell me one. For your love, I go break every leg.
You see how that blends? Where? Wig, where? Good deep conditioner, good leave-in conditioner, just making sure your hair is very, very well moisturized. I think is a great way to prevent heat damage because it makes your hair more elastic. You don't necessarily need to put so much heat to get it to be straight. So yeah, flat iron used to be once a year, now it's more frequently, but that's another thing, I do know that I have heat damage, and the reason I'm okay with that is because of the fact that pretty soon I plan on cutting my hair. So I'm not as attached to my hair as I used to be. Gotta make sure the tracks ain't showing. All right, so I'm gonna comb it forward like this and then take this bit and tuck it behind my ears like so. Like I so. Never find the way to worship you, Lord. Find a way, I will find. The next hair question I have is how to maintain straight hair, how to maintain moisture when your hair is straightened. And that's a really good question that is kind of tough to answer just because using this foundation here, it is a fave. Nothing beats this. As you all know, when you straighten your hair, you want to avoid putting any sort of moisture on your hair. However, you don't want it to just be breaking into, you know, get unhealthy just because you wanted to wear straight hair. So the best way to go about that is to make sure you take care of making it as healthy and moist as possible prior to straightening your hair. Deep conditioning. I use Shea Moisture deep conditioners. I alternate between different line. Ones that I've really liked is the Manuka Honey Moisturizing Deep Conditioner. I also really like their Jamaican Black Castor Oil Deep Conditioning Mask. Those are two that I can recall off the top of my head that are really good for deep conditioning. So, okay, you've deep conditioned. Next thing you want to do is you want to use a really good leave-in conditioner. One that will really give your hair that elasticity it needs to straighten without you having to go through it so many times, and to also hold that moisture throughout, you know, the week or 2 weeks, however long you plan to keep your hair straight. Leave-in conditioners I've used are Kinky Curly Not Today leave-in conditioner, and a good heat protectant. There's so many different heat protectants out there. Honestly, I wouldn't say I straighten my hair enough to have like a favorite that's like the best. But there's Chi, there's Shea Moisture, there is Tresemme. Those are the ones that I've tried that I'm listing off the top of my head. Just, you know, make sure you do all that stuff to protect your hair and also keep it well moisturized. And then once you finally straightened it, use very light serums and very light oils to lock in that moisture and to also keep your hair from getting too dry while it's in its straightened state. The next question asked, how is school, residency, and when will I be able to continue to make hair videos? So residency has been tough. Not gonna lie, hence the lack of videos. I've kind of shifted myself to Instagram to at least still have that creative outlet. But as far as hair videos for YouTube, that really had to take a back seat. But my really good friend Beverly, she did this video where she talked about the story of Noah and how he had to go through the season of building a boat that God asked him to build. And although other people mocked him and other people couldn't really understand the purpose of what he was doing, he just did what he had to do and built his boat and put on that boat the things that were necessary to sustain mankind. And so at the end of the video, she asks, like, you know, what is on your boat, okay? What are you trusting God for that a lot of people can't really understand, but you know that in the end will be all worth it? And I feel like that's the season I'm in right now. Like, residency has been very tough, but once I get through this season and everything God has planned for me starts to come to life and come to light, then I will hopefully be able to share my testimony with you all. But in the meantime, I just need to get through residency. I just flip the script, flip. I don't know nobody else that's doing this. Hey, body starts to drop. This is a bronzer by Becca called Maui Nights. It just warms up my face. Look at that. You see, this is like boring, and then this is like Maui Nights. So the question was, how do you improve your GPA post-grad if you are interested in going into the healthcare field? There are several ways you can improve your GPA, or at least try to maintain it if, you know, you're at that point where you're like, oof, yikes. Because trust me, I've been there before. I would say the number one way I was able to do so was by having friends that were in the same program that I was in. Because sometimes your teacher is there to teach you and like give you the information you need to be able to be successful in a program. But like sometimes your friends have a better way of explaining it. If they understand it and they're able to explain it to you, they might bring it to a level where you're also able to grasp it. So that was one of the biggest ways. Like, I had a group of friends in pharmacy school that we had this group chat that it was constantly going off. Like, we were always, half the time it was not related to school, but during those exam nights, yeah. And we're able to explain things to each other in a way that we would better understand it. Another thing you can do is take advantage of office hours, because again, if you don't have a lot of friends in your program, then you gotta utilize your professors outside of the classroom. And it also depends on what kind of school you're in. I was in a very small university, like 3,000 students in the village, okay? So office hours was like no big deal. I could walk in most of the time, and it wasn't gonna be a problem. So in your case, if you go to a large institution, then definitely schedule time to meet with your professors so you can have that one-on-one time to have them explain things to you in a way that you can better grasp it and and then that also helps, because if they see you face to face more, they're able to make that connection with you. And when they're grading your tests and exams and they see that, you know, she just needs a little to get her that grade that she really needs, they'll do you that favor without you even knowing. Half the time you don't even know what goes on in the background, and they will favor you. In Jesus' name, they will favor you. Amen. Take it. Also, join organizations that can get you connected to other people also interested in your career field, because that's where you will get to network, number one, but also like feel that passion, refuel that like desire, and like be reminded why you were interested in that field in the first place. So I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be doing so I don't have to explain it throughout the whole video. I'm going to be using this pink in my crease, and then using this purple to deepen the crease. And then on my lid, I'm going to use this beautiful, like, oh my gosh, this beautiful like aqua, what's it called? Seychelles? I don't know what that is. This aqua color here, and then we're going to like mix a little bit of this grayish color called Seaside. So the next question asks, where have you been? After pharmacy school, you have the option of doing a residency. Now, different from medicine where like you need a residency to practice medicine, and pharmacy is optional. You don't have to do it, it's by choice. People may choose to do a residency primarily if they want to have a clinical role in the pharmacy field, because it's getting harder and harder to obtain positions. The heck is that? It's getting harder and harder to obtain clinical positions. So more and more people are doing residencies nowadays. I think another reason a lot of people choose to do residency is because they're trying to avoid having to do retail, which I don't think is a smart idea. I think if you're gonna do residency, you should do it because you really want to do residency. Now, there are also residencies out there that are not really clinical, and that's kind of what I'm doing. So I chose to do an administration residency, because I'm interested in administration. So there are a lot of projects that, you know, you are responsible for. There's a lot of studying that you need to do to stay on top of your game. So essentially, that's the long-winded answer to where I have been. Someone asked, how do you find time to look so flawless? Thank you, Kayla girl. I know that's you, girl. But you listen, I do not look flawless as often as you might think I do. I look flawless when I'm posting on the gram. Okay, the next couple questions I feel like I can lump into one. So tips for incoming P4s wanting a residency. I want to preface by saying residency, especially the match process specifically, is a bit of a gamble. So what you need to get to focus on is just getting into the match process, and then the rest of it you just have to leave up to God. He's the author of your life, and he will get you where you need to be. How to get to the match would require a very strong CV, a voluptuous, that's not the word I'm looking for, a robust CV, a very good letter of intent, and good letters of recommendation. As far as your CV, especially in your P4 year, make sure you are getting your hands on as many projects as possible that you can speak on during interviews. The reason I say that is residency is basically a year of P4 rotations all over again, just in more depth, and then longitudinal projects that you are required to finish by specific deadlines. So if you can speak to, yeah, I did an MUE when I had this rotation at this site, or yeah, I helped this other resident when I was a P4, there was a resident at the site I was at and I helped her do some data collection for her research project, and you can speak on that, that will really give you a 5 stars, okay? And then lastly, your letter of intent. Not your letter of intent, I already talked about that. Your letters of recommendations. Any preceptors throughout the year, pre-4 year that you've worked with, make sure before going into the rotation that you have this mindset that I want to do the best I can do, that this person can speak to my strengths and be able to speak on my strengths to these residency program directors when it comes time to apply. So those are the 3 major points that I have, because that will get you to the interview by God's grace. And then once you get to that interview, you just practice, have your friends interview you, have your parents interview you. Your school should have a career development program or something. They should be able to help interview you. Just practice. And then after that point, the rest is up to God. Okay, next question asked, how did you know that you wanted to be a pharmacist and stuff like that? I'm sure a lot of you will be able to relate to the fact that growing up in a Nigerian household, you have a limited list of options as far as what your career options are, you know? The standard, you can, you have the option to be a lawyer or a doctor. So I knew personally that those 3 options were not gonna work for me. Definitely law and engineering was not for me. But medicine, I could rock with. The only thing was I didn't want to be in school forever, and I wanted to have a very good work-life balance. So I was like, what else can I do? I had 2 aunts that were in pharmacy, and one of my aunts allowed me to shadow her, and so that was when the idea of going into pharmacy was born. It was in the sciences that I had a skill for. Like my parents really prepared me for a life in science. So I was like, why put that to waste? I was very good at math. I was a math whiz up until calculus. Calculus is what destroyed everything, but before then I was a math whiz. The more fun question, someone asked Texas or Ohio, and girl, that is such an easy one. I'm sorry to all my Ohio people, but yeah, Texas for sure. Texas has a lot of young professionals that you're able to mix with and mingle with. There's so many networking or, just events where you get to meet other people that are like-minded like you. Maybe when I'm like 40 with 3 kids, almost an empty nester, then Ohio will be more suitable. But at this point in my life, Texas is it. What do you guys think? It looks so natural, and I know I'm gonna be fooling all these Caucasian people. No, I'm kidding. The idea of a U-part wig is very new to me, and I don't know how I'm gonna maintain this. I'm just gonna have to wrap my hair very well at night to hold this style for a week. So that's another thing. I can't really wear this style for longer than a week without having to wash my hair or without it getting too frizzy. That's the only downside. The texture of the hair, the quality of the hair is thumbs up. So thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for still hanging around even though I don't post as frequently as I used to. But yes, take care guys, and I hope to see you soon in my next video.